Hope you're all well. Let this pop in. Now we are live. On the road driving. How are you folks doing today? We are 99 south right now. 99 south. Yeah, looks like we're slowing down a little bit here. Getting ready to head to Southern California. We're about 4 hours away from where the board meeting is. We've been on the road for about an hour now. Hey Trina, Susan, Hunter, how are you folks doing? Chevy, what is up? Hit that thumbs up on your way in. So far, so smooth on the freeway. Knock on wood. Got everything charging up. Of all these artificial dyes from some of our foods. I think he's going to speak around 1 my time. They said when I was at the gym this morning, they said 4 o'clock Eastern time. So if we can find that, we will play it in the background here. We'll get all that junk out. Don't know why we're one of the few countries that allows all that crap and all that substance in our food. Going to buffer a little through some of this area, but it should be good in a minute. Once again, we're down to 55. Why? People move. Californians do not know how to drive. Old Uncle Bill's in the house. So I was watching checking out the highlights earlier today when I was packing up and getting ready to go, and it looks like they had all kind of vandals spray painting the Tesla showroom over there in Manhattan. Looks like the police moved in. They were spray painting the windows. Just your typical vandalism from the left. You know, that I'm not getting my way, so I'm going to act like a child. Hopefully those folks get some punishment. Once we get through the don't know how to drive, people will give you some highlights of what's going on. And like I said, RFK Jr. is supposed to be speaking, I believe, at 1 o'clock my time, which is 12 minutes away. It's 1 o'clock here on the left coast, and we will bring that to you if I can find it. Going to a school board meeting for parental rights in Southern California. Smurfette, I agree with you 100%. They need to make examples out of these people. You can't just get away with vandalizing, trying to destroy a business. It's not how it works. Could you imagine if you had a bunch of folks in MAGA hats doing that, how quick things would change? Why are we stopping like this all the time? Truck is passing, and everybody on the right goes by again. So how is everybody today? Everybody ready for the drive? Ready for the meeting tonight? Nola's in the house. Yeah, JH Candy Bar, look how beautiful the freeways are, right? Myself when I said everything was going smooth on the freeway, guys. Once we get through here, hopefully. Oh, now this one's getting over. Do not let him over. Get past him first. See? trailer's carrying a big load there on the right. You got half the strap going down the road. Time to hit the gas. Texas Bigfoot. I seen that. Texas Bigfoot's been naughty. Till we arrive. And thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. We appreciate it. Let me see if I can find RFK Jr. HHS FDA Food and Diet Press Conference. So that should be starting in just a couple minutes. We'll listen to that in the background, see what RFK Jr. has to say. Sounds like he'll be eliminating all food dyes, the 8 remaining food dyes. I think there's 8 remaining food dyes in our food supply over the next 2 years. Which really shouldn't be that hard. better food, brighter futures, guys. Let's be number one in this world when it comes to our children, their education, everything else. As soon as that starts, you'll hear it. It's 1 o'clock right now, so it should be kicking off any moment. Right now where I'm at, getting close to, I think, Bakersfield, so 87 degrees out here. Not sure about here, but I think I'm pretty sure it's going to cool off towards the weekend. We got rodeo weekend this weekend. We got busy Saturday. We got T-ball for Caden. We got the rodeo, we got the parade. It's going to be a busy Saturday. It's going to be nice. I'll consider it a vacation day. How about that? Vacation, staycation, staying where I live. They're just getting all set up right now for the press conference. You know, like we said before when we've covered this, there's a lot of food dyes and things that we put in our food that are outlawed in many countries. I mean, the simplest things. I remember when I learned that they used, was it yellow food coloring in pickles? Like, you think, what's the point? All those cereals, every single different color, whether when you get your Fruit Loops, each one is a bunch of dye. So again, if you're just tuning in the background, we're going to be playing RFK Jr., talking about the banning of artificial dyes. Obviously, I can't see any comments at all because, again, the phone is being used to restream this so we can listen to it. Ready to get kicked off. Stage. They got all kind of kids up there on stage. McFarland. Conferences. 108 now on the left coast. Then when this is over, we'll go over the highlights of what's going on today out in the world, other than more Tesla protest and vandalizing Tesla in Manhattan. We are 24 miles outside of Bakersfield. There's a highway patrol on the other side. Earlier I was doing 78 to 70, but I was going the flow of traffic. I have the adaptive cruise control on, so I'm just following cars. And he was out bent over with his radar gun getting folks, so he was making, he wanted to get the 15 and over folks because everybody was going 8 over. was fake news. I think I got time. I don't see him at the podium yet. So there was a person at one of the colleges. I'll get all the information later. But anyways, this person was coming in.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. If you can please take your seats, we are about to get started. If you can please take your seats, we are about to get started. Thank you.
So it's starting up in 1 minute. But like I saying, this person was one of the researchers at a college working on cancer. And this person came into the United States, flew back into the United States, and they had some things that they shouldn't have, and they tried to lie to our Customs and Border Protection that when you take an international flight, if you ever take an international flight, they ask you to declare what you had, and I can't remember what it was, but something to do with, anyways, some specimens that you have to report. And so this person was detained at the airport. And as soon as word got out, the left is trying to say that we had a scientist that had a cure for cancer, and Donald Trump is holding this scientist. And it was so funny, and the Department of Homeland Security shared their tweet and said, this is the truth of what happened. This person tried to enter and illegally bring stuff into the United States without declaring it. But of course, you know how that goes. Okay, it looks like they're getting ready to walk up on stage right now, guys.
petroleum-based synthetic dyes and several health conditions, such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obesity, diabetes, insulin resistance, cancer, genomic disruption, GI issues, as I've seen in the hospital, and allergic reactions. For example, this Lancet study conducted a randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled study on food dyes concluded that artificial colors in the diet, quote, result in increased hyperactivity. So why are we taking a gamble? Parents, moms and dads, have also tried to raise attention to the issue. Some parents have observed that these chemicals cause hyperactivity and even aggressive behavior, and that it subsides when the chemicals are removed from the diet of the child, and sometimes even reoccurs when those petroleum-based chemical dyes are reintroduced. As I know from my experience taking care of children as a doctor, you have to always listen to the mom. Other studies have found that artificial colors that create vibrant colors mess with the child's developing brain to make ultra-processed foods more attractive, even when the child already feels full. These studies have associated food colors directly with obesity and diabetes. Well, America's children are sick, and 1 in 5 are on medication. The answer is not more Ozempic, more ADHD medication, and more antidepressants. There's a role for those medications, but we have to look at underlying root causes. The F in FDA stands for food. Now, there's no one ingredient that accounts for the child chronic disease epidemic. And let's be honest, taking petroleum-based food dyes out of the food supply is not a silver bullet that will instantly make America's children healthy, but it is one important step. This administration is not interested in continuing down the path of doing the same old things as we watch our nation's children get sicker. We need fresh, new approaches. Cancer and diabetes in young people is going up at an alarming rate, and nobody seems to know why. Just more insulin and chemotherapy. And let's not forget that the best way to lower drug prices is to stop taking drugs we don't need. 30 states concerned about this very issue have introduced bills or laws with a patchwork of standards for food companies. So the food industry, which has many good people, has asked for clarity. So today the FDA is taking the following steps. Number 1, establishing a national standard and timeline for the food industry to transition from petroleum-based food dyes to natural alternatives. Number 2, initiating a process to revoke authorization of synthetic food colorings, including those not in production, namely citrus, red number 2, and orange B, within the coming weeks. Number 3, taking steps to eliminate the remaining 6 synthetic dyes on the market from the U.S. food supply, specifically red dye number 40, yellow dye number 5, yellow dye number 6, blue dye number 1, blue dye number 2, and green dye number 3 by the end of next year.
Amen.
We are also requesting food companies to remove red dye number 3 sooner than the 2027-2028 deadline previously announced. These steps that we are taking means that the FDA is effectively removing all petroleum-based food dyes from the U.S. food supply. For companies that are currently using petroleum-based red dye, try watermelon juice. Or beet juice. For companies currently combining petroleum-based yellow chemical and red dyes together, try carrot juice. The FDA is also announcing plans today to authorize 4 additional natural color additives using natural ingredients in the coming weeks, while also accelerating the review and approval of other natural ingredient colors. I want to take a moment to thank America's food manufacturers. Many have been extremely cooperative. There are many good people in food manufacturing delivering on the needs of the American public, and they have done exactly what we have asked them to do. 100 years ago, we asked them to focus on mass food production to solve food insecurity. Now, given our child chronic disease epidemic and enormous suffering and cost that has ensued, we have to come together to address the new problem. That's right, we have to come together. If we can get beyond the tribalism in our society, rampant in our culture, we will realize that we all want the same things. Republican, Democrat, and independent moms showed up in high numbers to vote for President Trump on this very issue that Secretary Kennedy has championed. Moms across America have spoken, and they want more honesty and humility from our nation's healthcare leaders. And if we're being honest, ADHD is not a genetic problem, and our obesity epidemic is not a willpower problem. It's something that adults have done to children. I was reading a New England Journal of Medicine article recently, came out in January, referring to the chronic disease epidemic in children, specifically infertility, diabetes, obesity, attention deficit disorder, and many other health problems. And it referred to that group of problems with an interesting term. It called them non-communicable diseases of children. Non-communicable diseases. Well, actually, they are communicable. But kids are not getting these diseases from viruses or bacteria. They're getting them from using their phones and ultra-processed foods and chemicals and toxins that we have introduced into their world. Gandhi once said, the true mark of a society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members, including children. Secretary Kennedy has said that he would instruct the FDA to examine concerning ingredients in the nation's food supply, and today we are delivering on that promise. To be clear, the transition from petroleum-based food dyes to natural ingredient food dyes will not increase food prices. We know that from other countries that have already made the transition. It's not an opinion. Today's announcement fulfills the administration's promise to use both gold standard science and common sense. For the last 50 years, we have been running one of the largest uncontrolled scientific experiments in the world on our nation's children without their consent. And today, we are removing these petroleum-based chemicals from their food supply. Food dyes with natural ingredients for American children, just as they already.
For over a decade, I have said the FDA is asleep at the wheel, and now I can stop saying that. Hi, I'm Vani Hari. I'm a food activist and author, a fellow Maha mom, and I'm not affiliated with the HHS, just for the record. Thank you, Commissioner all the way up to President Trump. From the moment my kids were born, I have taught them the truth about artificial food dyes because our government was doing nothing to protect them from these harmful ingredients. Now we are entering a new era, an era where we don't need to worry about artificial food dyes on the frosting of a birthday cake, the breakfast cereals served in schools, our children's Halloween bucket or Easter basket, the chips in the sports drinks being served after a game. This was the effort of so many incredible people, many of whom are in this room. Today, thank you. Thank you for being loud. Thank you for coming together with me on this issue. Because you made your voices heard, we now have made history together. And now we have intellectual honesty coming out of the FDA, focused on looking at updated science on food additives that American food companies are not using in other countries. This is a win for every American who doesn't know the truth about the food industry. For all the mothers, the fathers, the doctors, and the teachers out there struggling for answers on our children's health problems when they can be solved with food. Because you know what? Food is medicine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, Commissioner McCary, Governor Marcy, and the rest of the board here to fight the good fight. And
Speak
I was,
up.
reflecting on a friend of mine who was a pediatrician who once said that if a foreign nation
study itself that the industry is telling us to do is on its face unethical. We clearly have a problem. This is also a day where the cries and the shouts and the applause from Maha moms during the campaign are ringing out across the country. Look at what we have here today. We have people like Dr. Mark Hyman who've been fighting this and talking about the real science for decades. We have Vani Hari who's been advocating, shouting into the darkness for years on this issue. We have Maha moms, we have children. They gave President Trump and Secretary Kennedy a sword during this campaign. Secretary Kennedy and President Trump walking with the Maha moms behind them. And what's happening today, and I have a plea for the media, let's not cover this cynically. This is a major win. This is a major win among grassroots forces against special interests. These are things, as you know, that the industry has been fighting for years and years and years. These are things that a year or 2 years ago would have been absolutely out of the question to ever have happened. This is a major, major win. And I have a plea also, quite candidly, for Democrats. I've met with Cory Booker. I've met with a lot of people that care about this issue. Where are you? Come to HHS, come to the FDA, and work with this administration on these unimpeachable issues. This is our children's lives at stake. We are poisoning our children. This is a monumental day of turning the tides in this country. And I just want to introduce the Speaker of the Utah House and recognize the incredible state leadership, 25 states around the country, inspired by Secretary Kennedy, inspired by President Trump, who've passed Maha bills and given the leverage for the federal government to be here today. So I want to introduce Speaker Mike Schultz.
Good afternoon. I'd like to start by giving a shout out to my colleagues in the Utah House of Representatives and the Utah Senate, 10 of which came to be here with us today. Thank you. Because you see, real change doesn't happen easy. It happens because people are willing to do the hard things, to make the tough calls, and to put our kids first and Americans first. Whether it's banning soda from SNAP purchases, or getting ultra-processed foods out of our school lunches, or removing fluoride from our drinking water, Utah leads and Utah has taken action. This year, we passed a ban on dangerous chemicals and synthetic dyes in school lunches. One of our largest school districts has been doing this for 3 years already, showing that we can provide a healthy environment for our kids without overburdening our schools and our school systems. These decisions aren't easy, and they're not always popular. But the mark of leadership is doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Secretary Kennedy can attest to that. While we're proud of the work we've done, we know that this fight isn't over. And it's not won in a single session, or in a single bill, or by a single state. It takes a collaborative, sweeping approach to bring people together, local, state, and federal governments, all pulling in the same direction. That's why we're grateful for the growing partnership between the Utah Legislature and the Department of Health and Human Services. It's the kind of collaboration that gets things done and moves the ball forward. We appreciate the support, and we really respect the leadership in this room, especially Secretary Kennedy. And we're excited to keep the ball moving.
Well, good afternoon. What a wonderful time to be here at HHS today. I just want to start out and thank the Health and Human Services Secretary, Robert F. Dunn, in just a very short period of time. I'm grateful to be here with the Secretary and with the FDA Commissioner, Dr. McCary, and also I'm personally appreciative that President Trump had the good sense to pick these wonderful people. They're doing an amazing job making America healthy again. I of the MAHA movement and their mission of making their states and their country healthy again. And I know there's some people here from West Virginia, some of our leaders who really led the way for the recent legislation, which maybe had something small to do with why we're here today. So Senator Barrett and Senator Chapman and there are a couple other folks here. I'm just grateful for your leadership on the ground, because when we win on all these issues, we win as a team, and we have a great team here today. Now, when we think about the MAHA movement, we think about how we can make Americans happier, healthier, and living more purposeful lives. At the end of the day, this is an opportunity for everyone to live a little bit longer, spend more time with purpose and with friends and loved ones. In West Virginia, just last month, we launched what I called the 4 pillars of a healthy West Virginia. That's to reverse some of the negative healthcare outcomes that have plagued our state for far too long. Pillar 1, big part of why we're here today, it's cleaning up our food. I want to get the crap out of our food and improve the quality of school meals. We passed the law in West Virginia because we thought our kids and our citizens deserve better. They deserve real food, not chemical shortcuts designed to the most vulnerable among us, our children. Now in West Virginia, we've launched a statewide walking challenge. We've called it the Mountaineer Mile. We're reforming our SNAP system to reward healthy choices. And we're holding the line on harmful food additives. Because when taxpayer dollars are involved, they should fuel health, not disease. And as part of this process, thank you. That's a pretty basic concept, I think. As part of this process, I think all of us know that a national discussion is needed. So we've been fortunate to help lead the way in West Virginia, but I'm so thankful for the leadership on the national level. That's the best way we do it, because we need consistent policies across the nation that clean up our food. So we're appreciative to Secretary Kennedy and the Trump administration for the bold steps to begin removing harmful dyes in food products across the country. I think it's going to protect kids who often fall victim to these processed foods. West Virginia, we're committed to helping lead the nation toward a healthier future. Let's go clean up our food, let's lift up our families, and let's move our country forward. Thank you, and let's get to work. And now, it is my pleasure, my honor, to introduce someone who makes a lot of people nervous here in Washington. That's Secretary Kennedy. Secretary Kennedy, this is a guy that's willing to speak the hard truths and stand up for everyday Americans. Even when it's not popular, he stands up, he makes it happen. Let's join me in welcoming him, a warrior for America's children, RFK Jr.
Thank you, Governor Pelosi. Thank you to Speaker Schultz. Thank you to Dr. Mark Hyman, who's been my friend and partner on these issues for over 20 years. Vonnie Harry, who's been an extraordinary leader. And then Marty McCary. I'm so grateful that you agreed to join the administration. And Jay Bhattacharya, will you guys come up here and stand behind me? We have an amazing team at HHS. When my uncle was president in the 1960s, we had the healthiest people in the world. And one of the basic assumptions of our country was that because we were robust people, because we were vigorous, because we were tough, we had what my uncle called this beef jerky toughness, that was responsible for our country being the land of the brave and the home of the free. The greatest industrial power in the world, the wealthiest country. We owned half the wealth on earth when my uncle was president, and part of that was because of the vigor of our society. And that's one of the reasons he started the Presidential Council on Physical Fitness, because he saw lesson. And one of the
Sorry, we're getting a little choppy on the service on one of the phones. Give it 1 second. Once we get through this pass, it should be better. This is great news, though. Great step forward. Let's see. I like how that one guy said, why isn't this an issue we can all agree on? Why can't Democrats and Republicans come together for the health of our nation? And that's a good question. There we go. Come on, load up. Come on, we got all the service in the world now.
great budget. We can't continue to exist like this. And the problem is industry is making money on keeping us sick. As Jay pointed out, ADHD is associated with all these behavioral disorders. But those disorders are treated not by changing our diet, but providing medications to treat our kids. And they get medicated, and that's the only solution. it's not the time to stop. It's the time to redouble your efforts because we have them on the run now. And we are going to win this battle. And 4 years from now, we're going to have most of these products off the market, or you will know about them when you go to the grocery store. So I want to thank you. And finally, and most importantly, I want to thank President Trump. President Trump often, says that he's going to make America great again. But he knows that he cannot make our country great again if our country is weak, if we're not healthy, if we don't have vigor, if we're not a robust people. He says that he is going to restore the American dream, that a healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. And right now, there's 60% of the people in this country who have only one dream, that they can make it through a day without pain, with energy, without having to take medications. And we are going to change that for our country. And I want to thank the moms and thank President Trump for his confidence in my leadership and for allowing me to surround myself with such an extraordinary team of scientists who are going to restore transparency to this agency. We're going to do replicated science. We're going to restore gold standard science so we know what's in our food and we can eliminate it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Secretary Kennedy. Thank you to everyone for being here, and thank
CNN. Secretary Kennedy, you talked about how sugar is poison and how it's addictive. Is that the next step for you, looking at policies to reduce or even eliminate sugar in food products?
I don't think that we're going to be able to eliminate sugar, but I think what we need to do probably is give Americans knowledge about how much sugar is in their products, and also with the new nutrition guidelines, we'll give them a very clear idea about how much sugar they should be using, which is zero.
Yes.
Hi, Lena Bottomiller, Evich with Food Fix.
Jay Bhattacharya is working is assembling teams all over the country of scientists at universities and research centers to look at all of those products so that we can have it. I mean, one of the problems is we don't have good science on everything. And we need to have science before we take policy action. And that science has been suppressed systematically for decades because of the conflicts in this agency. We're going to remove those conflicts. We're doing the science, already doing it. And we'll be announcing a series of grant opportunities this summer on all of these different ingredients. And we're going to have good information for the American public, and then we will take appropriate action.
Ashley?
Ashley DeMello, Fox News Digital. Will there be a way for Americans to identify products that are complying with this visa? So just labeling, or
We're looking at labeling. Labeling, we have to go to Congress for. But one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to post all the information we have about every additive on an open source website. So that, and we're going to encourage companies that develop apps. There are a number of other apps out there today, like Yucca is one, but there are a number of others. I use Yucca, and my wife uses it in our home. Those apps, then you can use, those companies will develop apps in the private marketplace so that mothers can go in, they can scan a barcode of every product in their grocery store, and they can know what's in it, what's not.
Jan?
So, Secretary Kennedy, you have a lot of issues on the MAHA agenda, obviously, and I'm very curious if you could share some of the logic of choosing, for example, autism and food dyes and things as some of the kind of inaugural issues that you're coming forward with.
I would say, we're in a triage situation now, so we're choosing our priorities based upon the issues that, food dye is just a no-brainer. Nobody wants to eat petroleum. Everybody knows there's enough science out there that we know it's terrible for you. That causes health problems, but also behavior problems. And so we can act on that now. Anything that we can act on, we're going to act on immediately. Some stuff we need science for. We just need to do more science. But a lot of times you hear people say, oh, we're going to do more science on that, and then 10 years go by. That's not going to happen. President Trump wants dramatic change. President Trump wants dramatic change in the next 2 years, and we're going to deliver that for him. In terms of autism is a priority. We've gone from 1 in 10,000 now to 1 in 31, 1 in every 20 boys. This is 1,000 times more impactful to our country from an economic point of view, from a moral point of view, from just from the perspective of just our national well-being. That it has to be. It's costed by 2035. It's going to cost us, autism alone, just one of these chronic diseases will cost our country $1 trillion a year. We have to end that, and we have to end that because the children and the families are suffering so terribly. So that has been a priority for me for 20 years, and it will continue to be a priority, and we are going to find the answer very, very quickly, and we're going to eliminate the exposures that are causing it.
Secretary Kennedy, Issam Ahmed here from Agence France Presse. Just on the political dimensions, do you give credit to the former President Joe Biden for getting the ball rolling with Red Dye 3? And as far as the label...
in terms of the credit, I credit President...
Jerry, you win more bees with honey than fire. Good to see you, Sean. And so there are a number of tools at our disposal. And so I believe in love, and let's start in a friendly way and see if we can do this without any statutory or regulatory changes, but we are exploring every tool in the toolbox to make sure this gets done very quickly. And they want to do it. They want to do it. So why go
Thank you, everybody.
So there you have it. There you have it. That's good news. That's good news. We've been waiting for that. Promises made, promises kept. If you guys remember when RFK Jr. decided to drop out and said that he has been working, he tried to get a hold of, he reached out to both Republicans and Democrats about making America healthy again. And Republicans were the only ones that were responsive to him. And he made that agreement with President Trump. I'm going to endorse you. And President Trump said, we need America healthy. I'm going to put you, I'm going to nominate you for this position, and you can get to work. And that's what we are seeing right now. That's great news. Great news. Obviously, there's that pass, should have service again. And again, haha, thank you for the donation match challenge. Thank you so much for anybody that's going to help pitch in, guys. We are going to be in Los Angeles for a school board, or near Los Angeles for a school board meeting. And we raise the money for gas down here and to extend the rental car. If you guys want to help out, haha got a match challenge going on. You can donate to Venmo at Oreo Josh. Cash App, $Oreo Army, GiveSendGo.com/Oreo 2024, or we have a Zelle link on our website. You can go to our website, theoreoexpress.com. Scroll down a little bit on the homepage and there's a Donate Now button. I want to thank you guys for getting us to these events, allowing us to bring all this coverage to you, and once again, appreciate you guys helping us out while we are on the road. I don't understand one thing, and that is everything's so partisan right now. You heard last week RFK Jr. talk about autism and all this, came out and said by September, he was in a cabinet meeting, by September, they want to have the answers to what causes autism. And instantly, Democrats and the paid Democrats speakers started saying, oh, he thinks he can do this. And people started putting up their family members that were autistic and said, this person's a taxpayer, this person's a taxpayer. I thought that was the most shitty thing I've seen online for a while. That would be like a wife on 9/12 after 9/11 says, well, my husband called in sick to work yesterday. He worked in the Twin Towers. So it's not that big of a deal because her husband is alive. Everybody else that died doesn't matter. That's what it's like, because there's so many people that are nonverbal. There's so many things with these diseases that we need answers to. We don't have the science behind it. We don't know what's going on with these people. And again, when you were a child, you didn't see them everywhere. It wasn't so common. 1 in 31. That is crazy. And now we're sitting here acting like it's just the norm and not to do anything, that we don't want to research it. And again, because Democrats don't want this to be successful. They want failure in every part of the Trump administration. And it's very sick and disgusting. Once again, haha has the match challenge. It says match challenge. I'll match up to $100. Let's help Josh get a room. I don't want him driving home. Please send anything if you are able. Everything helps. Hashtag Oreo Army. Once again, thank you, haha. 17 minutes away. Doesn't look like there'll be too much traffic. got a train going by on the outside. Oh, looks like we got old Uncle Bill. Thank you for the $25 donation. Thank you, old Uncle Bill. Appreciate you. And then Cindy, thank you very much. You did a $10 on Venmo. Thank you. We were just going through the Tehachapi area right there. That's why some of the service was a little messed up. Watch, I guarantee we can go on, and the first thing Democrats are doing are blaming RFK Jr. for something. Earth Day. Yeah, there's so many fake news articles. Homeland Security is addressing them as, again, like I said earlier, there was a news article, an immigrant held in U.S. custody has simply disappeared. It says the Venezuela's man does not appear to be on the list of people sent to a prison in El Salvador, and his family and friends have no idea of where his whereabouts are. And Homeland Security responded false. Ricardo Jesus Prada Vasquez is a Venezuelan national and confirmed member of Tren de Agua. Entered the United States on November 29, 2024 at the Brownsville, Texas port of entry via a CBP-1 app appointment. Prada was paroled into the U.S. and served with a notice to appear before an immigration judge. On January 15, Prada was encountered at the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel in Detroit, Michigan, attempting to enter the U.S. from Canada, and was referred to secondary and resulted in Prada being designated a public safety threat as a confirmed member of TDA and in violation of his conditions of admissions. Prada was apprehended and transferred to ICE Michigan for detention on February 27th. An immigration judge ordered Prada removed from the U.S. On March 15th, Prada was removed to El Salvador. I love it. Another activist judge, it says a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to rehire all Voice of America, Radio Free Asia, and Middle East Broadcasting Network staff for now. And he said all congressional funding must resume to the outlets, which had been effectively shuttered by the administration. Oh my gosh. I mean, a judge saying you got to open up these radio stations in foreign countries. It's amazing. And then remember that video we showed you of one of the guys that was worked for the Tim Walz. He was an employee, a DHS in Minnesota DHS employee. He was caught on video doing over $21,000 in damages to parked Teslas in Minneapolis. He will not be criminally charged. The Hennepin attorney announced he will be able to enter a sweetheart diversion program after doing $21,000 worth of damage. a Tesla board member. They are saying remove Musk from Tesla. Another one, a federal judge just ruled that the Trump administration must give 21 days notice to Venezuelan migrants before deportation. That means Venezuelan TDA gang members. This is what I'm talking about. What policies, what vetting process did they have when 10,000 were coming in a day and we were saying, no, something needs to happen? No judge stepped in. And then another YMCA incident. Remember, we had one a couple years ago down here in Southern California where we went to a couple events. But this one says, a man at the North Kansas City YMCA in Missouri reportedly entered the women's locker room and exposed his penis to a 7-year-old girl and her mother. When confronted by the mother, the man reportedly said, honey, I'm a woman. YMCA released a statement saying individuals are allowed to use the locker room or the restroom, which they identify as. That's another organization that's just went in the crap hole, is the YMCA. For everything it was good for at one time, it's trash now. Yeah, these activist judges, man. I mean, we just had that judge popped. We covered yesterday, I think it was, where he had a TDA gang member living with him in New Mexico, where the cartel is really strong in New Mexico, Arizona, and California. I think it was in Santee, California, if I remember right, that we went down and covered that YMCA. They even had, when the press conference was going on, they even brought Antifa out. The radical, mentally ill left that want to intrude on your daughter's restroom, locker room, and sports. It's just absolutely insane. We need to make insane asylums great again. Hey, Nana Bear, how you doing? Whole lot of scenery out here, huh? Got all kind of solar panel. There's a solar panel farm all through here. construction for more over here on the left. And then you got some more on that hill up here on the left. Neat. I'll get the snacks for everybody but RW. Stop up ahead and get a quick drink. I have water, but I need something else. Get a quick drink and a bathroom break really quick. Hyundai. I don't know what Hyundai is doing out here. I'll have to look that up. Is Hyundai the one running these solar farms? Melissa, thank you. Melissa, $10 for snacks. Thank you. On Venmo, appreciate you. A fire truck right there on the shoulder. We have a car go off the road, or looks like it. Or he was just walking, there was no car there. I know RW's not here. There's reruns of Dancing with the Stars on right now, so I wouldn't expect RW to be in here. A whole lot of nothing out here, guys. And the outrage over our government, and we talked about it a little on the show yesterday, our government are actually, I think the outrage is the Democrats crying and screaming because those who borrowed money from the American taxpayer to go to school are now obligated to pay their school debt And it's almost like they are murdering these people. I'm not even lying. The Democrats, man, you guys can do better. These people signed on the dotted line that they were going to take a loan out to go to school. The American taxpayer financed that. When the White House put a press statement out saying that this is hardworking taxpayers should not foot the bill for this, and one of the Democrat people said, well, these people are taxpayers too. Well, good. That means they got an income. They can pay their debt. What a ridiculous, oh man. Stop up here. People in California City, as you can see. You gonna get over? You gonna get over? Give it gas, give it gas. Stop. 19. Breaker 19. Edwards Air Force Base, 1 mile. We'll go right here really quick, use the restroom, get a quick drink. Some cool stuff in here when we were coming back from Utah. front door in case anybody robs it. You guys can send old Uncle Bill over here to get them. Be right back. Thank you. Come again. Thank you. Come again. Okay, we're rocking and rolling now. We stopped here probably right after this thing was open, and we passed up that Jeep a long time ago with that trailer. Still don't look completely finished inside. When was that? I think that was August. Yes, it was August. August 21st or 22nd.
$150 in
shots for getting on the freeway. Cedar Springs, Utah, a couple different spots in Utah. No, not going to Bakersfield. We're heading to, we're way past Bakersfield. We're heading to the Los Angeles area, not necessarily Los Angeles, there is a school board meeting that could get a little exciting. They're talking about parental rights, protect parents' rights at this school board meeting. So we're going to find out how that goes. We're probably going to be doing a lot of these over the next couple weeks, months, because these school boards realize that Trump has done an executive order, that Gavin Newsom is pushing against that executive order. So we'll see how this works. Rep. Rokana says 5.3 million borrowers are in default on their federal student loans. Restarting loan payments now will cause credit scores to plummet and risk millions of Americans' ability to participate in the economy. It's time we forgive student loans for working and middle-class families. No, it's not. I'm sorry. Again, this is what this communism is. They want me, the taxpayer, to pay for some indoctrination center that really is a lot of crap colleges with crap professors, just like a couple weeks ago, the one calling for the death and murder of Trump at Fresno State, the one who gives her students extra credit to attend the Tesla takedown protest. I'm sorry, I'm not paying that. Nuh-uh. Not gonna happen. These people are absolutely insane. How about you forgive the loan on my house, right? It can be paid off. That way I only got to do property taxes. How about we do that? Trump was asked about the Epstein file release, and he said, "I'll speak to the AG about that. We will find out." exit 199. Love's truck stop, $4.59 a gallon. That is it, Marcia. That was it. That was the Born Loves. Not a whole lot out here, guys. I did see a flyer back there on the post about pissant. Said groomer alert, but that's about the only thing out here. So I'm taking whatever road. Yeah, I'm taking 395. That's what the map says. Till we turn off on that 395. started the truckers convoy, same road I took last week for the Chino Hills one. And we'll go past Adelanto. On your marks, get set, go, come on. No cars coming from either direction, but you just sit here at a red light. That's what causes global warming, I promise. Oh, what kind of cameras on the thing? Use them for something good. This will be another exciting road. Adelanto, 29 miles away. Musk says he'll be cutting down time at Doge starting in May to dedicate more time to test level. We'll spend a couple of days at Doge a week for Trump's entire presidency. The large amount of work necessary to get the Doge team in place is mostly done. Starting probably in the next month, my time allocation to Doge will drop significantly. He's doing it 7 days a week right now. So he's going to cut that down to a couple days a week. The sacrifices that man has made. And all they, oh, he's a rich guy. Yeah, he's rich. Okay, look at it. Look at what he's doing for this country. And I know they don't look at it like that. I don't think they can comprehend that. That was bumpy. That was really bumpy. So here shortly we're going to be going through Adelanto. If you guys remember, those have been around for a while, that is where we started the People's Convoy. What was it, February of 21 or 22? I think it's 21 probably. Yep. No, not 21. 22. God, it seems so long ago, doesn't it? Watched it from there and then came down to Hagerstown. That's right. Good times. I remember pulling into Hagerstown. There's some things I really, oh man, that was more balls running these things. Really willing to do some civil disobedience to get something done other than just circle the Beltway. Yes, it was, C. Marcia, you are correct. We celebrated his birthday a couple weeks early because I was on the road. Then a couple weeks later, he took a plane flight out and hung out with us in Hagerstown. He loved the horn honks. At a young age, man, that's what was amazing. He was telling them, get going, hit that horn, freedom. I got 3 dogs at home, Robert. 3 dogs. Don't forget, guys, we still need funding for gas home and a hotel tonight. So if you guys want to pitch in, $5, $10, any amount helps. I mean, 10 people pitch in $15, that covers it. I want to say thank you to all those that have. If you do want to help out, Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App $Oreo Army. We have also our GiveSendGo. It's givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And we have our Zelle link. If you do online banking with your app and you transfer through Zelle, you can go to our website, theoreoexpress.com. And when you head over to theoreoexpress.com, there is a Donate Now button. And it'll have Zelle, Cash App, and Venmo all on there. I want to say thank you. Attorney General Rob Bonta. California isn't here to play when it comes to our environment. On Earth Day, reaffirm our commitment to enforcing our state's laws. 10 miles to Adelanto. 10 miles. And we are an hour and 16 out from our location. Yep, they're crazy. These environmentalist hacks that are just destroying this country, destroying this state. We need to end the lawfare. That's what it is. You shouldn't be able to sue over everything to delay something. If it's only delayed, there should be a severe penalty and fine, because that's what a lot of these people do. Just like what they're doing to Trump right now. A lot of these things are just going to be delayed through the court process. So that way he can't get as much done in his time in office as he would as if they didn't do these frivolous lawsuits. Start a convoy today. Like a roller coaster going up and down these hills. Yeah, Marcia, that is a good point. It's our money using to sue our money. Isn't that crazy? My tax dollars going up against my tax dollars. It's just ridiculous. Firing range. Let's go. Yes, I know all about Steve Hilton. He's probably the best candidate right now, in my opinion, that we have. That has a again, I don't know who has a shot that's not a Democrat, but he's a pretty good guy. He worked on the Trump campaign. He's worked to help elect a lot of conservative candidates here across the state of California. So, everything I know so far, I've met him before. Freedom Cowgirl's in the house. Hey, there's all kind of airplanes over there. Yeah, I seen that, Trina. He released a video about it last night. We'll see how that goes. I'm not going to hold my breath on anything in California. People want to say, oh, California's red. No, it's not. Too many people watch legacy media and they believe the news as truth. Bottom line. Couple more minutes, will be in Adelanto. I don't know what that is. Southern California Logistics Airport. Okay. Wonder what all. City of Adelanto. Why do these cars stay? You'll see where we took off from over here. off and hit that car in front of him. All right, guys, I'm an hour away. I'm going to end this. I got to make some phone calls, get some stuff taken care of, but we will be live probably around 5:30 my time, which is about 2 hours from now. The meeting starts at 6. Please share it out. Join us a little later. And again, if you guys want to pitch in on gas or hotel for tonight, we would appreciate it. That's what we are short on right now. And I want to say thank you for all you guys hanging out and riding with us. If you do want to donate, any amount helps. You can go to Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, and GiveSendGo.com/Oreo 2024. We also have a Zelle link on our website. That is theoreoexpress.com. On the homepage, you scroll down a little, there'll be a donate now button with all those. Thank you guys, and we will see you soon.